So I took some tears off my eyes and I put it on his forehead.
Listening to Let Your Voice Be Heard.
It's a logical fallacy, and I know that, but, as always, and maybe the rest of the panel can tell you, I play a bit of the devil's advocate because I am the lone black Republican up here.
He just made a fool out of himself. I mean, you can look at Dennis Rodman and think he's making a fool out of himself.
We know Barack Obama, what he was like, anti-war, government...
Boy, that escalated quickly.
I got to jump into a rally to save a hospital here in Brooklyn in just a minute.
I stopped working on my dissertation the second my grandmother died. I am a blazing liberal who can have a Republican-leaning ideology if you give me enough beers. I got to get you that Illuminati thesaurus. Once you get that, you're going to be able to speak in the same language I can speak.
Now, a white person with a criminal record is more likely to get a job than a black person without one.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
The point of financial stability and economic justice is that you're free from confines of society and you have more freedom and to make your own choices.
Just in general, people who have money tend to have more access to resources to be able to use in their defense versus people that don't have money. So you see a lot of, lower, and that's really a class issue, and race does come into play.
This is Let Your Voice Be Heard, right here on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. And we are back. This is Let Your Voice Be Heard right here on WHCR 90.3 FM.
WHCR, the voice of Harlem. Oh,
yes.
Selena, you got it wrong, so I had to fix it for you.
I didn't get it wrong.
That's right.
Anyway, thanks so much for hanging out with us here on Let Your Voice Be Heard. Again, you can tweet us your thoughts at BeHeard_radio. You can also call in 212-650-6903. We always appreciate your calls. But we are moving this show along, and we're going to talk about the different interesting news stories that happened throughout the week. There was so much going on. Some of it was very antagonizing. Others were a little uplifting. But we're going to start off with something that has been going on and on and on again. And by that, I mean George Zimmerman, who is back in the news for being arrested once again on aggravated assault charges with a weapon in a domestic dispute. I'm like, in Florida, I'm like, this man is a loose cannon. I mean, what else will it take for us to finally arrest him?
Well, he's not going to get arrested. I mean, not for a long time anyway, because, he's not black. So that is what helps. When you are black, you can be arrested for existing. When you are not black, you can be arrested for, I don't know. And that's just the case. But for all those people who called Trayvon Martin a thug and said he was a loose cannon and he was a monster, how does it feel to be defending the person who killed him? And he's been arrested about 4 other times since then. Because that's pretty much what you're dealing with. What can I say?
I know what I'll say? The use of the word thug, right? Everybody uses it as kind of a racially charged word. When in reality, as far as I'm concerned, it should apply to people who consistently commit crimes over and over again and sometimes get away with them, but sometimes do it, like George Zimmerman. But I have a better example. What about Bob McDonnell, the former governor of Virginia, who literally used his position of power as the governor to commit crimes and is now going to go to jail for 2 years? What about Michael Grimm, another person who now had to resign from Congress, who this was prior to him going to Congress, but essentially was a business owner and did all kinds of tax evasion and then threatened when he was a congressman to throw a New York One reporter over the balcony and break him in half like a little boy.
Can I ask you a question?
These are thugs. It's not, it's
people using their power to antagonize.
But wait,
we need to take back this word. No, that's the point.
Then how can they be thugs? Everyone knows only black people are thugs.
That's the point. I think we should take this word back so that we can apply it to those people who it deserves to be applied to, race aside.
You know who's a real thug? And who's the biggest thug of them all? That terrorist Barack Obama.
I knew you were going to say that.
Giving people college and stuff? No.
How dare he? Free community college.
Free health care?
Hey, don't jump my gun on that.
I know, right? You're bringing up the later segments. But I did want to bring up, so there's this other person who is making headlining news, and his name is. No, I wasn't going to say thug. I was going to say.
I almost said it.
His name is Mitt Romney. He has declared to private donors last week that he will run for president. Now, this happened after he lost twice in 2008 and in 2012. He continues to run for president, and he's also made a number of declarations say that I will never again run for president. I am no longer interested. Instead, I'm going to stand behind the Republican that I think has the best chance to win. But now that Jeb Bush is being so aggressive in his campaign and was like, I'm going to raise $100 million in the next few weeks just to discourage everyone else from even entering into the race. Here we have Mitt Romney all of a sudden like, you know what? Not yet, Jeb.
Well, the programmers that designed Mitt Romney only set him for one function, which is to run for president.
And
they designed him to
No. Remember, he likes dressage.
Right. So.
But Mitt Romney is like the white guy that sneaks onto the basketball court when the black guy is going to break. President Obama's term is almost over. He's like, all right, it's time for the white layups.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to be. We're going to have 4 years of
no one wants to see that.
Mitt, you are not Larry Bird. Go away. I posted the other day about it. I said, Mitt, please follow your money to the Caymans. This is where your money is. You should go there too.
Why do you want this? Just go.
But it is, you mentioned something really important. It's about Bush, which is because Bush has a lot of support. Romney was like, well, I have this feeling that Romney thought, well, I'm not really sure if I actually want to run for president or not, but considering all these people are already jumping on the Jeb Bush bandwagon, I better say that I might be interested. This way I can get some donations too. This way, if I do decide that I want to run, I have not seceded all my potential donors to Jeb Bush. But also, don't you get the hint, man? You lost twice. Third time's a charm. You want to lose to a woman this time?
I would, first of all, Mitt Romney is so entertaining. I mean, all of those gaffes and blunders. I would love to see him again in 2016.
Here's another good comment I got from Sonny. There are 3 reasons I don't like this man, but I can't remember the third one, which is the Rick Perry. Because Rick Perry is another person who might want to run for president again. The field is actually pretty big on the Republican side. You have Scott Walker said he might be interested. You got Mitt. You got Rick Perry. You got Jeb Bush. Marco Rubio. You got Ben Carson said that he might.
Uncle Ruckus is running for president.
Yeah.
Wow.
I thought you were going to say a different uncle for a second.
No.
Oh yeah. So speaking of people who should not be saying things or should just go away.
Me?
No, Bill Cosby decided to do another stand-up comedy show. Regardless of all of the allegations and all the controversy surrounding him, he did a stand-up show, and one of the things he said, he made a joke about all the allegations about him drugging and raping women. He said, and I quote, "Be careful about drinking around me," in regard to one of the women in the audience.
Wow.
So inappropriate.
Wow.
So in response, he gets heckled.
That's kind of funny.
But let me tell you, he goes right into Mr. Cosby mode and was like, no, shh, calm down. No, calm down.
It's pouring in the pudding.
And it worked. And everybody was like, and he was like, no, just calm down, guys. And he just continued. I'm like, what world is Bill Cosby living in? Does he not see the perception, the negative publicity and all of the negative perceptions going around about him for him to make a rape joke?
Well, I think that's part of our culture, right? Is that it's okay, we can joke about it. I mean, and getting back to free speech, right? He has the right, I guess, to make those kind of jokes, but we have the right to then criticize him for his poor taste and talk about how, awful it is to think that that's funny, to think that it's, because even if nothing, I mean, it's very unlikely, but even if he's completely innocent, other people have been victims of that, and it's, it's not something to make light of.
Here's my take on this. So I find it very unlikely that over 30 people are going to accuse him of rape, and at least half of them are not telling the truth.
Right.
Like, there's just way too many accusations on the table for us to not even to at least be like, okay, maybe some of this is telling the truth. What I will say about this whole Cosby thing is in many instances, people have pretty much just sold him under the river before anything has gone to court. But then with other people who have done horrible things, like the guy from 7th Heaven who admitted on the phone conversation he touched kids, no comments.
Right. Yeah.
No, so I will say that's all I will say.
Bill Cosby's also a bigger star.
Yeah. This is true.
He has a lot more people know who that is.
How about we just leave it to let's judge people in a court of law instead of in the court of public opinion.
But we can't,
but
because
even that we can't really.
The limitations already up, so it's like he needs to be bashed. He needs to feel some type of condemnation for what he's.
And if that's really the issue is that he's not gonna we're not gonna get the due process because of the fact that the statute of limitations limitations has run on these crimes, and I know that they may have been committed in different states, so the statute of limitations may be different. But then we really should take it one step further and have a conversation about whether there should be longer statute of limitations when it comes to sex crimes.
That's a better conversation.
Because that is a more productive conversation. Speaking of legal stuff, though, I'm going to transition just a bit. So I got this really interesting article on my desk the other day from Slate magazine. Funny enough, our prior contributor, Sarah Harvard, she contributes to Slate, so good job.
Are you bringing up manspreading?
No, I'm not bringing up the manspreading, although Selena and I had a long conversation about that the other night. No. So Saks Fifth Avenue has argued that they have the legal right to discriminate against transgender employees.
What?
Yeah. So essentially, there was a lawsuit by a woman who was born a man who goes by the name Jamal, or I'm sorry, maybe the other way around. I'm
confused.
Yeah, no. Jamal is a female. Okay. So
But she hasn't changed her name to a more feminine name.
Correct.
She just keeps it at
She
Jamal.
keeps her name. Yes. That is
funny, Stanley.
It's really not funny.
Stanley is cracking
Stanley,
I'm sorry.
don't be offensive.
What's
Okay.
so funny, Stanley?
I can imagine all the awkward, like, Jamal?
Maybe that's true, but that's not really the relevant part of the story. So let's move beyond that. So, anyways, she brought a lawsuit against Saks Fifth Avenue because she was an employee there and was being harassed, and was then terminated. And she claims that, essentially it had to do with her being transgender. Anyways, so instead of Saks Fifth Avenue disputing her claims and saying that she was trying to at least make the argument that she was terminated for other reasons that were unrelated to the gender, Saks took a strategy of claiming that it has the legal right to discriminate against transgender employees based on the fact that they're trans status. It's a really odd tactic. I find it morally repulsive, as does the author of the Slate magazine article about it. But essentially, during their filings, Saks actually misgenders Jamal, and they refer to her as he and him, and even worse, when they are talking about Jamal's own complaint against them, they add the word SIC in brackets, which is spelled incorrectly, after her name in every single place where they reference the complaint. So they essentially assert that the fact that she's a woman is factually incorrect.
Right.
And not only are they condoning discrimination, but it seems like they're also refusing to accept the validity of anybody's trans identity. So, I don't shop at Saks, but I never will.
Now you have even more reason not to. You know who else is discriminating against transgender people? Vladimir Putin. He told them that you cannot apply for a driver's license. You cannot drive if you're transgender in Russia.
Because, changing your gender has anything to do with your ability to drive.
I didn't get it.
Is Vladimir Putin, are we really having this conversation?
Vladimir Putin rides around on a horseback with no shirt on, and you know
Shooting
what? He
tigers.
probably takes it in the butt.
I don't even know if we can say that anywhere.
No, we can say that.
I'm not.
I didn't curse.
Shifting to what's that new campaign that I think is kind of silly?
Yes. I did want to talk about manspreading. So Alyssa and we talked about it on Thursday. She brought it to my attention, and then I just happened to come across this wonderful.
Stanley, stop manspreading.
Okay, so FYI, guys, if you aren't watching us on Ustream, Stanley is manspreading. Manspreading means that as a man, you think that you are
I don't know what Stanley's doing.
entitled to take up so much space, especially when it's inconvenient and inconsiderate.
You're in my way,
For
Selena.
example, on a crowded subway train, right? So there's this great social experiment going on Mike, and this woman, she tried to manspread just like this man did, and you should have saw the reaction she got. Like, a lot of people gave her a lot of snide remarks, a lot of snide looks, whereas the man, he was like, I felt so empowered.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, what are you guys like? You guys need to keep them closed.
I'm sorry, guys. You go first, Jackie. Then I'll come in.
Okay. This is my biggest pet peeve, and I think it is the most arrogant thing. And now everybody listening that lives in New York City that rides the subway now, every day, now that you've heard about this, pay attention to it, because it is everywhere, where men all over the subway. Like, it will be rush hour on my way home. I'm carrying like 10 bags of stuff home from work, and all I want to do is sit down, and I can't because men are taking up more than one seat.
Yep.
Just because they need to let it all
No
hang
one
out.
told you to be a woman, Jackie.
Yeah. And it's just like the arrogance and the hubris that you have to just take over 3 seats just to enjoy yourself on the subways.
Well, first of all, are you giving me the finger, Jackie? I see that.
What?
First off, guys, if you have a comment on this, the number is 212-650-6903. Again, that's 212-650-6903. I like to believe that I'm like very supportive of the feminist movement and a lot of issues that women deal with.
I'm glad you like to
I like to believe
good.
that, and some people may disagree. I got called a misogynist a couple weeks ago. I think this campaign is stupid. Everyone spreads on the train.
No,
definitely not.
I've seen plenty of people do it, men and women, and because the seats are small according to some people's opinion, so they spread. The nice thing to do is when someone comes to sit, you move your legs in, or if they're being a jerk, you just sit right there.
Well, right. I don't have any problem if you're spreading and there's nobody else on the train. If it's like 2 in the morning, or this morning when I rode here, there was nobody next to me.
You're gonna put your bags
but
up
like
or whatever.
during rush hour, like close your legs.
Yes,
and both men and women do it.
Exactly.
But men do it. Every
you feel an entitlement.
This is what I told Selena. If you can show me the numbers that more men do it than women, then I can support this.
Stanley, I will take a picture every time I see it, and I will
I'm
send
talking
it to
about
you.
real hardcore facts.
All right, let's do a study. Let your voice be heard.
I feel like this is more so of a okay, this is a useless issue in my opinion. Because everyone spreads.
It's not, though. And it's not just the issue of, guys are taking up space. It's this idea that men are more entitled to the world that we live in than everybody else.
Well, that's called male privilege, but I don't think this male privilege is transforming into them spreading their legs, spread eagle on the train. I really think this is silly, guys. I'm sorry.
It's like, never mind. It's like when people say that white privilege don't exist. You're like, oh, well, this isn't man privilege. It is, though. It's sort of like...
I'm not contesting that male privilege exists. I'm contesting that this quote-unquote man spreading when everyone does it. And then the fact that it's been spotlighted that men are doing it and more women are agreeing doesn't mean that was a majority.
I'm sure
other
a
people
girl
do
in
it
a
too,
skirt
but we're
is
all
sitting
focusing
there
on men.
The train like this.
Shoot, I was on a train last night, possibly inebriated. And you know what? I was afraid to open my legs because I thought that someone would take a picture of me and put me on mic.com. But I see people all the time, women and men doing the same thing. Or like I told Selena at Barnes & Noble the other day, I've seen women come on a train, on a crowded train, take a seat and put their purse in the empty seat. And then when someone asks them to move it, they just roll their eyes and keep sitting there.
No,
what
I've
about
seen
that?
But like,
women plan things.
You're attempting to say because women do one thing that like...
No, that's not what I'm attempting to say.
What you're saying.
What I'm saying is both people do man spreading, and then there's also this. So why are we getting on quote unquote men's cases for something that everyone does?
Not everyone does it, though.
I do think that there are inconsiderate people, and it's not gender based all the time. But I do think that there's a big difference. I mean, maybe as a woman, I just have a different perspective, and that's just the lens I see it through. Yeah. But I remember, as a woman, I've been socialized to make myself small, to make sure that I'm delicate, make sure that I'm petite. I feel so bad if I take up too much space, whether my legs are uncomfortable or my bag is just too heavy to sit on my lap. But you know what? I just feel differently, and I don't think that we teach our boys the same thing. I think that when they show dominance through their positions, it gives across like being this male male entitlement.
It's sometimes you don't even think about it. Like your legs are open.
Yeah, you don't think about it
because it's not a dominant thing. It's like, it's comfortable.
I can't believe the spirited debate we've had over this.
I can't believe this is a real
this
issue.
Was
like,
happen with Stanley.
We're following women. Like there are people following women down the street and paying them less than what men get paid, and we're arguing about someone sitting on the train with their legs.
Because it all interconnects.
It's not an isolated issue. It's just, and you bring up the best point of it, right? Is that it's something that you're not thinking about. This is something that men tend to live in this world where they don't have to consider
we're shaming
women's
people for
feelings.
something that everyone does. I don't get.
Not
this.
everyone does it though.
Yes, everyone go on a train.
All right, guys. So we're gonna have to agree to disagree. Stanley's gonna continue to manspread because, in his opinion, it's not a problem. But unfortunately, we're gonna have to go to a break. But I do want to just let everyone know we're gonna move on. We're gonna talk about the Republicans in Congress. We have the new 114th Congress, and Republicans control it all. And we're gonna talk about all the horrible things, in my opinion, that they have been and are gonna continue to do. And you also can let your voice be heard. The number is 212-650-6903. You can tweet us at BeHeard_radio, and we'll be right back on Let Your Voice Be Heard.
WHCR 90.3 FM, New York.
I'm living in a 21st century, doing something mean to it, doing something mean to it, doing something mean to it. do it.